Welcome to the Carbons Mic Off. We got a guest today. His name is Dalton Good. How's it going, Dalton?
Going good like my last name, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So we
All
had
right.
the championship race over the last weekend, and Joe Logano ends up winning the Cup Series champion, and
Unfortunately.
Ty Gibbs won the Xfinity, and Zane Smith ends up winning the Truck Series champion. So, how do you feel about them guys winning the championship?
You should probably know how I feel about Joey Logano winning. um, but all seriousness, I mean he had the dominant car. He brought the best piece, and it was well deserved. So congratulations to him. Zane Smith. I can probably say the same thing about him too. He pretty much dominated that truck race as well. Uh, really, that was just the whole story of the championship for this weekend. Just like if you were sitting on the pole, you were gone, like nobody caught up with you, and you basically had that championship lot as soon as you won the pole on Friday. Um, really, the Xfinity race I thought had the best championship race of the whole weekend. I thought that race, and I could probably say the truck race too, was the only races that had like the championship four like actually battling each other. I didn't see that in Cup
hmm
the Cup race on Sunday. Um, really really happy for Ty, but at the same time, I hate it for him. I hate this had to be his first NASCAR championship just because the day after his dad Coy passing away. Just I can't imagine what he's going through. I can't imagine what Joe's going through. You know, because he just lost a son 3 years ago, JD, and then he lost another one. So it must be horrible. But my thoughts and prayers with the Gibbs family. My thoughts and prayers with Ty. My thoughts and prayers with Joe. And I'm hoping that they can get through this difficult time.
Yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with the Joe Gibbs organization. Uh, it's crazy what happened Saturday as Ty Gibbs won the championship and Coy Gibbs passed away unexpectedly, and it's just
Yeah.
awful. I understand the feeling of what Ty Gibbs and Joe Gibbs are going through, but my condolences to the Joe Gibbs family and all them. And so, Dalton, what part of Tennessee are you from?
I'm from Johnson City. That's about, for those of you who don't know, it's about 20 minutes away from Bristol Motor Speedway. But now I'm living in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is about 45 minutes out of Nashville. I grew up in Johnson City. It's a pretty small town. Not a lot of people have heard of it, but unless you've listened
Mhm.
to the Wagon Wheel song, but that's about it. And then I moved to Murfreesboro in 2017 to go to college at Tennessee College of Applied Technologies. I graduated in 2019. Got myself a full-time job at this trucking company where I work as a graphic installer. So if you see like these moving trucks like college hunks or 2 men in the truck, little guys moving, you see like how their stickers on the cars, like or truck, excuse me. I installed all those graphics. It's like for those of you that know like how to wrap a race car, I'm basically doing the same thing with trucks. So yeah.
Yeah, if I actually stayed at Johnson City for the every time I go to Bristol, and I always like
Right.
Johnson City because of how much stuff is there compared to South Boston, Virginia,
Yeah.
and because the Red Roof in Johnson City, you know, you have your Target, the TJ Maxx, and the Books a Million. I'll be walking over there like in the morning just to check out some stuff, and
I know exactly what
I
you're
just
talking
love
about.
Johnson City. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and
Have you
and
had pals?
yes, I have.
Good.
I
Good.
went I went last year after the Bristol Night Cup race, and I loved it.
All right. What'd you get?
And I got the cheeseburger, the hot dog, some fries, and a shake, I think.
Dude,
But
the
it was
fries
pretty
are
good.
yeah, the fries are
Yeah, the
amazing.
fries are good.
My original order is like the I just get like two hot dogs with plain ketchup only, then a large Frenchie fry. I like the
Mhm.
strawberry milkshakes too.
Yeah, and my friend Thomas, the guy that goes on trips with me, um, and the guy you met at Bristol
Right.
recently, we he never tried Pals, and I told him like, man, we got to go to Pals. Pals is so good. The only thing is about
Exactly.
Pals is it's so packed, always
Oh yeah.
packed, and we had to go. we had to go all the way back home, and we're just not gonna have enough time to get do it all. But the good thing
Oh,
is that we are going back to Bristol next year for both of the dirt races and going back for the Bristol Night Cup race for sure.
all right.
Um, and also the thing is about Johnson City, it had Cheddar's, and that's the first time I've ever been to Cheddar's before, and I absolutely loved it.
Well, that could be a sponsor for me next year.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible for
Hopefully.
Kyle Busch.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but it's it's something to think about. And I mean, Cheddar's. I will say this about Cheddar's. Cheddar's is really fully committed sponsoring their driver. Like for Tyler Reddick, for example. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they still go with Tyler Reddick since he's moving. But I mean,
Right.
you just don't know. They could sponsor multiple cars.
Well, it depends on like if Cheddar's is like a RCR sponsor or a Tyler Reddick sponsor. Because I feel like if they're an RCR
Hmm.
sponsor, they'll look at Kyle and give him a chance. And I remember Adam Stern tweeted like right after Kyle like officially signed with RCR that they were going to look at Kyle Busch like Cheddar's, 3G, basically all of Tyler Reddick sponsors, and they give him a shot. And at the same time, they're also outside looking at other companies like maybe Sling TV, if you saw that Twitter exchange
Hmm.
that they had. But
Hmm.
yeah, dude, I'm hoping for Cheddar's. I mean, M&M's is going to be very hard to replace, but not really the. I've been to Cheddar's like such a long time, but I promise you, the moment they sign that contract, I'll be in there pretty much every Sunday before a race. So make it happen.
Yeah, anything's possible with sponsorship, and I even posted a tweet a couple months ago after Eminem's is leaving, and and Kyle Busch is going to race for RCR. I was like, what if Reese's just stepped in, the company that owns Reese's and Hershey's and all them, just
Yeah,
steps in and just sponsors and just get rid of the Mars. They're like, hey, Hershey company is just going to step in and sponsor you because of the candy and all that kind of stuff.
right. I wouldn't mind
I think
Hershey's,
it'd be
but
really cool.
yeah.
It would be cool. And so everyone that, and including myself, why did you become a rowdy guy?
All right, so a little bit of a weird story. Like, so I started watching NASCAR with my dad in 2002, and the car that stuck out to me the most in that field was that Tony the Tiger colored Frosted Flakes car, and driven by Terry Labonte. And like I
Mm-hmm.
immediately got hooked. Like I immediately got hooked to the sport as soon as I saw that paint scheme.
I
And
love that scheme.
yes, all time favorite. And I immediately started pulling for Terry Labonte. I watched Terry Labonte race for 3 years, and but I knew that he was retiring soon because he was getting to his late 40s, early 50s, and
Mm-hmm.
really after he left the 5 car, went to the 44. Uh, I remember watching a couple races with Terry, but then I kind of like fell out of NASCAR like by accident, pretty much. Like I did say, oh well, I don't have anybody to root for now. Like I'm done watching or anything I basically just like forgot about NASCAR. Like oddly enough, so I never really watched
Mm-hmm.
any races from '05 through '06. And then on in 2011 or 2007, excuse me, we were at my nana's house for the weekend, and my pet ball was flipping through the channels trying to find something on TV for to watch on Saturday night, and he was flipping through the channels, and I see 1 second of the Budweiser shootout driver intros, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
go back, go back, go back, go back to that channel, and that's when I immediately remembered NASCAR again, and I'm like, do you mind if I watch this? And they were like, sure. And my mom told me, Dalton, Terry's retired. Like, you're going to have to find somebody new to pull for. I said, well, who's driving the 5 car? She said, it's Kyle Busch. I'm like, all right, we'll just go with him. I watched that race. He did pretty solid in that race last night. I don't really remember too much of it, but I know that he was leading the race for most of it between him and Tony Stewart. And Tony Stewart, I got him, I think, late in the race, and he just went on to dominate and win. I think Kyle got a top 10 finish that night. And then
Mm-hmm.
2007, I finally became like a full time watcher. Like I chose like to not miss a single race. Like I told my mom and dad, like, listen, I have to be home at 1 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever to watch this race. Like I don't want to miss it. And I've been watching Kyle
Mm-hmm.
Busch ever since. And then 1 year later, he had to move on to Joe Gibbs Racing to drive the number 18 car, and I said, well, I guess I'm moving on over to. I didn't know what to do like after that move happened. Like I didn't know if I wanted to stay in the 5 Kellogg's Frosted Flakes car, but then I decided, okay, let's go. Let's move on over to the Joe Gibbs Racing ATM and M's, and then that very next year he won 8 races that year. He was doing very phenomenal. Besides the chase, of course, that year, and
Hmm.
that's what when he had that first 8-win season, I'm like, you know what, I feel like this is my guy right here. So and that's where that's where we got to this point.
That's awesome, man. Around 2002, I do remember this watching. As a Dale Jr. fan, because of my dad and my grandparents are, my dad is a big Dale Senior fan. My granddad is a Rusty Wallace fan because he used to work for Miller Brewer Company for 30 some years, and
Oh, really?
my grandma, yeah, and up in Eden, North Carolina, that uh, that brewery shut down a couple years ago, but he's been retired from that. Uh, and my grandma is a big Jeff Gordon fan. The Wonder Boy, the young guy, coming out of nowhere, racing, beating Dale Senior. And my dad does not like Jeff Gordon at all. And I kid you not, he doesn't like Joey Logano at all. And
Don't blame him.
he doesn't he he doesn't like the attitude of Kyle Busch, but he respects him because of how good Kyle Busch really is.
Yeah.
Um, and but he cannot stand Joe Logano and Jeff Gordon. And I remember back in 2002 when at Pocono when Dale Jr. and Steve Park had that terrible crash where Steve Park flipped over on the backstretch, and I remember that very fondly because 2002 I was probably 3 or 4 at the time, and crazy enough that I remember when Elliott Sadler was driving the 38 M&M's car, and he flipped at Talladega for the first time, and it was a wild, wild race to remember watching, and it was crazy seeing that happening. You're young and you're seeing all this, and you're like, "Whoa!" And I was instantly hooked. And the Burton brothers are from South Boston, Virginia, and Ward Burton won the 2002 Daytona 500, which it was a big deal, especially around here.
Oh, yeah.
And since the Burton brothers are from here, we got wrestler AEW, former AEW champion Hangman Adam Page. He's from here, and it's crazy how we got big names from this little town going to do big things. And Terry Labonte, on the other hand, I actually met him back in Darlington for the Southern 500. I actually met him by accident because did you go to Darlington this year?
I did not, and I'm glad I did.
Because where the stage was, there were my buddy Chris is friends with one of the band members, the singer or something, and I was seeing some people like standing where the gate was, like kind of like where the gate was, right on the right side. And I was looking over and I was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna walk over here real quick and see what's going on." And Terry Labonte was just there taking pictures, signing autographs. I was able to snag him in the vlog and all that. It was an honor.
All right.
And yeah, the Frosted Flakes car. I love the Frosted Flakes paint scheme. I was hoping to see like I would love to see Frosted Flakes come back as a sponsor in NASCAR,
Yeah.
and I want to see like Kyle Larson, for example, to do a throwback of that scheme. I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it'd be cool if Kyle and Frost Place did like a reunitement. Like coming. It's probably not going to happen because of I think they're having issues with like the Kellogg's factories like employees not getting paid a lot. Like I think they only get paid like very low minimum wage, and like they were kind of going on strike for something like that. So I don't know if that got resolved or whatnot. I hope it did. Uh, but that would also that'd be pretty cool to see if it does happen in the future. But going back to like you meeting Terry Labonte real quick, I actually met Terry at my first ever night race, or my first ever NASCAR race, the Bristol Night Race 2003. There was this event called Food City Family Race Night. So like it's like a very it's like a event or like a festival to where like there's a bunch of activities for you to do, and there's a lot of drivers that you can meet. And Terry Labonte was signing autographs that night, and my mom,
Hmm.
she like custom made me like an actual Terry Labonte fire suit. Like she sewed it, everything, and she was
Hmm.
collecting the Frosted Flakes Kellogg's box, and like cutting Tony the Tiger
Hmm.
off, super gluing it on the fire suit, and a whole bunch of other stuff, which is pretty cool. And I got to wear that, and then she painted like a little mustache on my face as well, just because he had that mustache, and we wore the
Hmm.
hat as well. That was when I was like 5 years old at the time, and that's where we went to go meet Terry Labonte. I was actually on the news that night just because like I dressed up as like a mini Terry Labonte, so that it was a pretty cool night, man.
That's awesome. And man, I remember like elementary school days when they had, NASCAR is big around here, and they'll have like NASCAR day, like wear all kinds of NASCAR merch or whatever. And funny enough, it'll be like maybe 1 to 3 people that'll have NASCAR stuff, and I'm definitely the one that has everything NASCAR, Jeff Burton, Warburton shirt, Dale Jr. shirt. And this is crazy, I even wore a Dale Jr. number 8 hat with a Budweiser hat pin on my hat when I was in elementary school. So,
My school wouldn't let me do that.
crazy. And I was, well, it only says Bud. It doesn't say like Budweiser on it. So I kind of had like
Right.
a little pass on that. So I got lucky on that. But it was so cool seeing. Um, it was great meeting Terry Labonte. First off, he's just such a cool dude. Great guy to talk to and meet. And I hopefully. Oh, I ran into Bobby Labonte at Martinsville. I actually recorded it, but it wasn't good footage to be put in the vlog. But I ran into his wife Christy and Bobby because they were taking pictures of the racetrack, and I just introduced myself to them and just say how's it going and all that kind of stuff, and just he just went on his day.
That's nice.
Hold on, I got another question. Okay, so what is the first NASCAR race you attended?
It was the 2003 Bristol Night Race. That was the first one we went to, and going back to me meeting Terry Labonte, that was that same weekend. Like we did the Food City Family Race Night on, I think it was Thursday night at Bristol Motor Speedway, and then 2 days later, we went to the race. And I don't really remember at the time, but that was also the week after Kurt Busch and Jimmy Spencer got into a big fight in Michigan the week before, where
Mm-hmm.
Kurt and Jimmy were like roughing each other on the track, and then Jimmy Spencer followed Kurt to the garage,
Punched him.
got in his car, punched him, and he got
Mm-hmm.
suspended for that race. And I remember Kurt ended up winning my first ever NASCAR race at Bristol, and I went back and watched that race on YouTube. I think about like 2 years ago, like just to watch my first race, and
Mm-hmm.
because unfortunately I fell asleep during that race. Like I was 5 years old. Like I think I fell asleep like after the Michael Waltrip and the Rusty Wallace wreck that happened, and then Mark
Mm-hmm.
Martin wrecked. I think about 100 something laps later, and that's what woke me up. And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't really remember too much of that race as a kid. So I went back and rewatched it, and I had no idea about the week that Kurt Busch had going into that race, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw like a lot of signs of fans like saying "Free Jamie Spencer, Lost Puppy" because like SiriusXM dog was the sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a wild one, and then I stopped going to NASCAR races after that, and then we didn't go back again until the spring of 2007, and that was Kyle Busch's first Bristol win, and also the first race with the car tomorrow. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, I've been going to Bristol races ever since.
Wow, that's incredible. Do you have that Bristol win diecast of the 2007?
I actually do. It's downstairs. I have like a
Nice.
diecast case. For those that don't know, um, I have it like organized. So like it's like a 4 shelf case, and it's like pretty wide. I would probably say like as wide as this wall right here. Um,
Mhm.
So on the first shelf is just the primary schemes of every season from 2007 to now. Um, the second shelf is all Bristol wins. So far, Kyle's won 9 Bristol wins. I have 6 right now. The Bristol Dirt win is coming soon. I think late this month. I already got a spot
Mhm.
ready for that. Uh,
I do
but
too.
yeah, yeah, but I have the 2007 win that was given to me by somebody. Um, I have the 2009 spring that was very rare to find, and the 2009 Bristol Night Race win was never made. So I actually custom made that. Like I bought like a normal 2009 Kyle Busch M&M's diecast, like the 124, and
Mhm.
I painted it and like or I painted over the stuff I needed to paint over, and I painted like a bunch of donut marks, rubber buildup, and wall
Mhm.
scrapes all over the car, like just to make it look like a real custom diecast. So I got that sitting there. I have the 2018 and the 2019 spring wins, and last but not least, I have the 2017 sweep set. I do not have the 2010 sweep set. I kind of gave up on that one. I'm just never gonna find it. It's too expensive and too rare. And then I
Mhm.
got to find 2011 spring. I could probably find the 2011 spring somewhere. I might get lucky and do that, but I'm really wanting to get all of his Bristol wins. And then
Mhm.
the third shelf is the Crown Jewel wins, like the Coke 600, Southern 500, Indy 500, both championships. I got a special spot for a Daytona 500 if he ever gets it. And then the bottom
Mhm.
shelf is just the rest of his win diecast that I got.
Yeah, I actually ordered the Bristol Dirt win because I was there when he won, and I'm actually glad that I was able to see him win in the 18 car for Joe Gibbs in his last year.
Yeah.
I did see him win in the number 5 Hendrick car in the Busch Series in 2007 at Richmond Fall in the Busch race. Um, because I remember that specifically because Dale Jr. was driving the special scheme, the number 8 Elvis Presley scheme, the white one.
Yeah. Oh,
And
dude, I love
man,
that scheme.
that car is so sexy. Oh man,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I remember I remember telling my dad like I want that 164 diecast, and me and him went to the merchandise tent, and I ended up getting that diecast. It was a amazing day seeing getting that. And Kyle Busch, I kind of wish I saw him win. I was happy to see him win the Bristol Dirt Race, but I kind of wish I saw him win somewhere else. Like for example, like I wish he won the Pocono race this year because
Yeah.
it's Eminem's sponsor race. I was there when it happened. I just I just kind of wish he won that race, and he finished second until he got DQ'd. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and see what sucks about that is like he even mentioned that even if the piece of tape like wasn't on there, his car still would have been like the same it was. Which really
Hmm.
sucks about it. I mean, I was fine with him running second in that race, like and losing to Denny Hamlin just because like that bad stretch he had. I'm like, we just got to get like a top 10 finish or a top 5 finish just to like get back in the rhythm, and then that disqualification just like killed it. And then after that, that bad streak just continued for like 4 more weeks or so, and it just never ended, man. It was miserable, but yeah, man.
Hmm. So what is the what is your favorite race you attended?
Um, I don't think anything is going to top the 2015 championship. Uh, so
Hmm.
there's actually a very cool story about that. So I mean, you remember the 2015 season and how it started with the Kyle breaking both his
Hmm.
legs at the Xfinity race in Daytona, and
Hmm.
that man that hurt like it was awful to see. Like that was my first time ever seeing my favorite driver get injured, and I never thought that would happen. Um,
Hmm.
and when he went out, I knew he was going to come back, but I knew our championship hopes were done. I knew that I thought he wasn't going to come back till like July, from what it sounded like. Um, but he came
Hmm.
back a lot earlier in May, and he had a shot to win a race, get into the top 30 in points. And after Michigan, I about gave up because that's where he had his second DNF of the season, like when he first came back. And I thought,
Hmm.
yeah, season's over already. But then after the off week, he goes to Sonoma, which was one of his worst tracks coming in, and pulls off that win. And all he had to do is just get into the top 3 points. And it wasn't going to be hard. I mean, because you were racing against guys like Regan Smith and David Reagan and Lana Castle and Matt
Mhm.
Benedetto. So yeah, that's not going to be tough at all. Then after that, he won 4 straight races, and or no, excuse me, 4 of the last 3, excuse me. Yeah, Kentucky, New Hampshire, and Indianapolis. So I thought right there, like we had a shot at winning a championship, and my mom was telling me like, Dalton, like you need to see Kyle's first championship. I don't know when it's going to be, but like you need to go see his first championship. Like she's been talking about it for a long time, and then Phoenix weekend came in late November, and she told me that Saturday, she said, Dalton, I'll tell you what. Um, so we were going to take you to New York City for your high school graduation trip because that was the year I was going to graduate high school. And she
Mhm.
said, we'll scratch New York City and we'll go straight to Homestead, Miami next weekend if your driver makes it to the Final Four. I'm like, dude, like that's probably the best deal you could ever give me. Like, screw New York. I want to go to see Kyle win the championship. And sure enough, he made it. So the very next day, Mom bought tickets and bought a flight to Orlando. We spent the first 2 days at Disney World. And then on Sunday morning,
Mhm.
we drove all the way from Orlando to Miami in our rental car. And it was a pretty good storm at the beginning of it. We didn't know like what was going to happen. We were hoping that the race would get postponed because we had to fly home the next day. But luckily, Florida rain doesn't last too long, so we were able to get the race in. And I got to watch Kyle win his first championship after watching him break both his legs at Daytona. I didn't think I would be here. Like I was not literally supposed to be at
Mhm.
Homestead this year after everything that happened.
Mhm.
So it was such an emotional night. I'm really glad I got to witness it. I want to thank my mom for helping me get there and help letting me getting me to witness Kyle's first championship. It was an unforgettable night, and I'll forever love her for that, man. It was such an unforgettable trip.
Yeah. I was at when he got hurt in 2015. He came back to Charlotte, and
Yeah,
he ran the he ran. I know he ran the Coke 600 because I was there. Did he
yeah,
ran the All Star race that year? Yeah.
yeah.
That was the
The All
race
Star
he
race
came
was
back.
his the All Star race was like his first bat. Like, and basically it was like a warm up
Mhm.
race before the
Mhm.
600, which is like a 600-mile race. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, because I was at the Coke 600 in 2015 when Carl Edwards won, and I remember seeing Kyle Busch come back, and it was that was a pretty good night because strangely enough, I thought Carl Edwards wasn't going to win. I thought it was going to be either Greg Biffle or Dale Jr. winning it, but Carl Edwards was able to win on strategy, and it just worked out. But it was great seeing Kyle Busch come back and be better. And when he came back, he was a lot better and decided to dominate races and
oh yeah,
got the championship. That was pretty. That was a great, one of the best comeback stories ever.
oh
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, one of the best ones for sure. Um, because when I kind of think about like comeback stories, I also think of like Kyle Larson's season from 2020 with the issue, and then coming back, getting hired again for getting ready for a 2021 season, and ends up winning 10 races last year, which is insane in the
Yeah.
championship. Uh, so next question is, what is your favorite race from your home track?
All right, Bristol. There's a lot of those too. Probably gonna need a minute to think about this, just like because Kyle's won at Bristol a lot of times. Um,
Hmm.
I guess I am going to say, does it? Let me ask you this: does it have to be like a race win? Like, did Kyle like have to win that race?
I mean, you can.
Um, because I kind of want to say the 2018 Bristol Night Race. Um,
Hmm. That was
because
a good race.
yeah, yes, like that was race of the year. I didn't care about Martinsville Fall. I didn't care about the Chicagoland 2018. I thought that was hands down the best race of the 2018 season. Um,
Hmm.
I remember Kyle ran that white chocolate Eminem's car, which was like out of nowhere. Like I was not expecting like a white chocolate Eminem's. I never even heard of Eminem's white chocolate, but it was a pretty cool scheme
Mhm.
nonetheless. And
Mhm.
I remember he wrecked on lap 2, and I was
Mhm.
honest. Okay, so here's the thing about me. Like, if Kyle wrecks, I never leave a race early. Like, I mean, I paid for the ticket. I
Mhm.
made the trip down there. Like, I'm gonna watch the whole race. Like, no matter what happens. Like, I'm probably gonna be pissed off, but I want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And but that
Same.
time, if he would have pulled into the garage after that wreck, I'm like, listen, I swear, if he pulls to the garage, I'm going home. Like, I told my dad, like, if you want to stay, fine. I'm going straight to the car and going home if Kyle pulls in the garage, like the moment he does. But at the same time, I was sitting there hoping that just fix the car. Like, if you finish 6 laps down, you finish 6 laps down. Like, just finish the race. And they were actually trying to get the car back out there and keep it on the lead lap. I'm like, guys, I don't know how you're going to keep it on the lead lap here.
Mhm.
But he lost 2 laps, and I thought right there that it was over. But like I said, I just wanted him to finish the race. I didn't want him to go to the garage. But he about lost a third lap, but then he pulled away from Ryan Blaney, who was about to lap him. I was like, wait a minute, like his car's like still good and it's beat to shit. And I listened on the radio that Kyle said like his car, the damage like wasn't that bad. And he was like running one of the best lap times. I'm like, if he could somehow just get these 2 laps back, he might win this damn thing. And at the end of stage 2, he got both those laps back. I'm like, and me and my dad were sitting there saying like, Dalton, he's gonna win this fucking race. And everybody was texting me
Mhm.
like, "Your man's gonna win this race. Your man's gonna win this race," and
Mhm.
it about happened.
I
But
mean, he
then,
didn't. I mean, he didn't have a back end of that car too.
yeah, and unfortunately, that's what cost him late in the race because every pit stop, they would have to pull the fuel cell to get fuel in,
Mhm.
and his
Yeah.
pit stop was actually like right in front of me. Like I was sitting in right at entering turn 3, and I'm like directly facing his pit stall. And every pit stop
Mhm.
under caution, they would be so slow on the stop, like it looked like they were fixing it. And I'm sitting there like all pissed off, saying like, "Guys, you just fixed it like 200 laps ago. Like, what are you doing? Like, get it out there. Like, what's the deal?" And then on the radio, MRN, they told me that they were having trouble getting fuel in, and he might be short because of the damage. I'm like, "Fuck, that is why." And really, and really, that's what cost him because he lost a lot of spots on pit road. Then came down to the final pit stop under caution, and he was second, I believe, or third on the second to last restart, and he lost some spots, and that kind of put him back there. Him having to like get through a little bit of the field to get back to the lead, and he was battling with Jimmy Johnson and Chris Buescher trying to get to the I think it was the 4th spot, and they were running 3 wide,
Mhm.
and you knew that wasn't going to work. And then Kyle got into Jimmy Johnson. Johnson like gave him a tire rub, and after that,
Mhm.
shit.
It was done.
But
It was done.
Kurt won, so I mean that's a good winner. I'll take it. But really, like that's like my favorite Kyle Busch loss, like of all time, if that makes sense. Like because he had drove
Mhm.
his ass off like after that wreck, fought from 2 laps
Mhm.
down with a torn up race car. Like it looked like he was going to win the thing. Um, so like I really respected the hell out of that drive that night. So and that's part of the reason why it made it a good race. I mean, that wasn't the only reason. I'm sure that's a lot of the reason why people are saying that was the best race of the year that year. But I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of good battles on back. There were a lot of good battles for the lead. Like it was just good short track
Yeah.
racing. Um,
Yeah.
so I got to
Shoot,
say the
even
20.
this
Yeah,
even
yeah,
the spring race at Bristol was good too. It was underrated.
yeah, but just the weather kind of fucked it up too. And I went to
Yeah.
that one as well. And me and Dad froze that day. It was so
Mhm.
bad. But Kyle won, so I'm like, who cares? It was worth it.
Yeah, but I mean, it was pretty underrated because of the carnage that happened in the spring race. I mean, Ryan Blaney was leading, gets caught up in a lap traffic crash. Uh, you had Chase Elliott crashing like early in the race, like 3 or 4 laps into the race at least, and
Yeah,
Truex was in it. And speaking about Truex got spun by Kyle Busch at the 2018 night race.
yeah,
um, that was a hard hit. I do remember that. That was a really hard hit, especially coming back on the track and collecting JJ Yaley at the time. And I remember when people at the Bristol night race, it's so crazy. The fans go crazy. It's one of
oh
the
yeah,
best. best tracks I ever been to. One of them, and I remember Kyle Busch was signing autographs, and some dude wanted to pick a fight with him. It's just crazy what
Yep.
happened. Um, 2018 was a really fun year to watch racing. I thought it
Oh,
was one of the best. I thought it was one of the best years of racing
I
in
thought it was
NASCAR
one of the
for sure.
best Gen 6 seasons.
And
And
I went to the
after that, it
Roval
never got better.
that year.
Yeah. Oh,
I
you
went to the
did?
Roval that year, and it was fun. Like I loved it. It was great. Um, and 2018 had a lot of really fun races, like Kansas in the spring. That was actually quite a interesting race to watch, and it was
Yeah.
pretty wild between the way how Byron hit the wall head on, which was insane, and then and I thought the rivalry of Larson and Blaney was starting because Blaney got mad at Larson and it's just crazy, and then Kevin Harvick ends up passing Truex with like 2 to go at least and won the race. Um, I think if I had to pick my favorite Bristol race, and this sounds crazy, besides like the 2018, I'm going to go back to 2015 for the spring race. That race was pretty insane for a Bristol race. It's like hardly anybody knows how to get around the track. People are just wrecking other people. The rain caused both the Penske guys to crash out.
Yeah.
Um, what else happened? Carl Edwards got loose into the rubber, uh, into the loose rubber, spun, hits a lot of people. I mean, it was an insane race. And Jimmy Johnson ran like wrecked a lap car or something,
Yeah.
and David Reagan spun, and Kevin Harvick tried to slow up, but he locked up the brakes and slams into David Reagan. Like he was like, and Kevin Harvick was running like in the top 5 that race. It was pretty
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I was at that race too. It was a good race, but it just sucks without Kyle being in it. Like that, it
Yeah,
just sucks. Like with your favorite driver's like not a like there's a good race going on, and your favorite driver's like not a part of it, which hurt kind of like it hurt like going to the track and watching somebody else drive Kyle's car. But yeah, that was a pretty good race overall too.
yeah, kind of like how I feel about the Roval this year because Bowman wasn't racing and Gregson was in the car, so I know how you feel. And also Martinsville. Recently, I was there when Gregson had to drive the 48 car, but I think Bristol is definitely a track to everybody has to at least go in their lifetime because it's so
Oh,
fun.
without
It's
a
amazing.
doubt, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
like when I went to Bristol for the first time, the way how they have it all set up, and that you got the tents on the other side of the road, and then you got more tents over where the haulers are at, and I was like, man, this is incredible. It's a lot of people. It's I just love this venue, and one thing is I love Tennessee so much because I went to Nashville and I loved it ever since. And I'm just happy to go back to Tennessee next year.
Hell
It's
yeah,
worth the trip. It's worth the trip.
yes sir.
Um, so for since the 2022 season is over, I have to ask you, what is your favorite race for 2022?
There wasn't many as a Kyle Busch fan. Um, But I will say this, hands down, and I tweeted this early this week. The Coca-Cola 600. I don't think any
Yes,
I don't think any other race came close to it. Like this year's Coke 600 literally had everything you wanted in a race in it. And
yes, it's so good, and that's
yeah,
my favorite race I went to this year. Like
and listen,
it's insane.
that is how the Coca-Cola 600 needs to
Hmm.
be. That is how the
Yes.
Coca-Cola 600 needs to be every year.
Hmm.
This what it is, like a 600-mile endurance race of survival. Um,
Hmm.
there was a lot of hype going into this year's 600 because the Gen 6
Hmm.
didn't really put on the best 600s, and it was always like a
Hmm.
snooze fest every year. And with the way the Gen 7 was running on the mile and a half, like you knew that this is going to be a very solid Coca-Cola 600, but I had no idea it was going to
Hmm.
be that wild. Um, yeah, Kyle Busch. had a fast car that race too, but spun out early, battling for the lead with Suarez. But luckily, he didn't have enough damage to keep him out of it. I mean, damage is shock, but like Kyle definitely needed all 600 miles for that one because he ran about
Mhm.
like in the 20s, like for most of the stages, didn't get any stage points. But then later in the race, everybody kept crashing out, and he was able to make his way back to it, along with some pit strategy too to help him out. And
Mhm.
that wreck where Austin Dillon like sent it in turn 3 to try to
Mhm.
steal the thing, and everybody right in front
Mhm.
of him. Kyle barely got by it, and Kyle, when it comes to big wrecks, Kyle always gets involved in it. Like if he's close to a big wreck,
Mhm.
he's always going to get into it at some point. And him getting through that
Mhm.
ever so slightly was just like amazing. Like it never happens.
Mhm.
And after that, like he had a shot to win the race. Uh, but really, what I think fucked him out of that one was Ross Chastain, for some odd reason, who was in that wreck, like actually in the wreck, sliding through the grass,
Mhm.
restarted second, and he got
Yeah.
through the juice lane. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is Ross Chastain in second? He was involved in the wreck. He wasn't maintaining speed. Kyle was. Like, why is he still ahead of us?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and he was torn. He was torn up too. Like his splitter was like literally dragging on the ground. Like there was no way he was
Yeah.
gonna be up to full speed. I mean,
Mhm.
he's trying to get the best finish he can. I get that, but like still, I mean, I'm sure they were gonna like park him for that. Like if it was torn up that bad, not being minimum speed, but it is what it is. And so Kyle had to start right behind him, and with that, he had to make it 3 wide to chase after Denny Hamlin. Unfortunately, he couldn't get him, but that made for a good finish. With the battle between Denny and Kyle, and then of course
Mhm.
outside of that, like as a fan of sport, you had such good racing like for a majority of the whole thing. You had a lot of multi-car pileups, a lot of cars just like losing it off of turn 4. Like the dominant cars, like you would be in the top 5, and you would just lose it out of turn 4, like almost every 10 laps. Like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace. It happened to
Mhm.
everybody. It's like nobody was safe in that race. And then the Chris
No.
Buescher flip, that was really odd too.
That was
Uh,
so unexpected when I was there,
yeah,
like, and, luckily enough, I was able to get majority of all the wrecks that happened on the vlog, and, when I was just filming and just recording the crash, and then all of a sudden you see a car flipped over, and you're like, "Oh my," OMG, you're like, "How can that happen at
yeah.
Charlotte?" Especially at Charlotte. And, it was one of the wildest races, probably it's my favorite race of this year regardless,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's so I met so many people there too, and it was so wild on how much went on in that race, and I said, "This is exactly what the Coke 600 is."
exactly.
It's crazy, and we had the big one in that race
Yeah,
with Ryan
we had
Blaney collecting a
we
bunch of guys.
we had a lot of big ones in that one. It was
Yeah.
really like a nutrition race, like a super speedway, which was very odd. And again, like I said, like I don't think I know the Gen 7 is incredible on the mile and a half, but I don't see next year's Coke 600 being as anywhere near as good as this one.
Oh, I'm going back to the Cook 600. I'm
I'm
going
thinking
to
about it too,
Charlotte.
actually. I'm thinking about it too, actually. Me and my
Uh,
friends are.
have you ever been to Charlotte?
Yes, I've been there lots of times. My first time there was the
That's right,
2008 also.
2018.
No, actually
2018
2008.
Coke 600.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did go to 2018 Coke 600. That was my first
Okay.
Coke 600, and Kyle Busch beat their
Mhm.
ass that night. But my first
Yeah.
Charlotte race was the 2008 All Star race, and then me and
Mhm.
Dad went back there in the fall for the chase race that year. Then I went back in 2014 for the All Star race, and 2018 was my first Coke 600. So I've been there quite a few times, but
Okay.
I think me and my friends are actually talking about going to this year's 600.
I love going to Charlotte. It's one of my favorite places, and
Yeah.
me and my friend are actually going to go next month to go Christmas shopping in Charlotte. So why not?
All right.
And I say in during that Cook 600 race, I was thinking like, who's gonna win this? And I was thinking, Ross Chastain because he was fast in that
Yeah.
race. I do remember him being really fast that race,
Well, both the Trackhouse
and
cars were dominating.
yeah, like they were pretty fast in that entire race. And I mean, Suarez was able to catch Kyle Busch in the beginning of the race,
Yeah.
and and all the crashes happened. And Chris, he's a big Denny Hamlin fan. When Austin Dillon ate shit in the wall, and
Yeah.
when he ate shit in the wall, and he was cheering like, "Yeah, we won! Didn't have we won?" And I'm like, "No, nah, caution,
Not
caution is
not yet.
before the line." And he's
Not
like,
yet.
"Dude, what? What the f?" and all that, and all this stuff. It was so funny. It was great, and and after that race, this is a funny story. After that race, when Denny Hamlin won, you got people booing more than cheering, honestly.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and we're just I was just recording and just I just ended the vlog, just wrapped it up, so it's ready to go. And we got back to the car, and and Chris was like saying like y'all like haters gonna hate and all this kind of stuff. I mean, he's been drinking too, so why not? And he said
Yeah.
haters gonna hate. And we got back in the car, and some not all right. I will admit, I'm friends with a couple Chase Elliott fans. Some of them are like you got your good ones and you got your bad ones. I mean, it's in every fan base pretty
Oh,
much.
yeah. Yeah.
And some Chase Elliott fan was yelling at Chris, and he was in the back seat. I was in the passenger seat. Thomas was driving, and and at the time, he was saying like Denny Hamlin gets f by his wife, like gets pegged by his wife, yelling at
What?
Chris in the back seat. And I was like laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. It was just random. And
That is some random
Chris
shit.
was yelling in the back, and Denny and Chris in the backseat was yelling. He's like, "I know you get pegged by your wife," and and he's like, "Denny Hamlin won. We won the 600." And he's like, Chase never won the Cook 600 in his career. And
There you go.
like I was, and Thomas told Chris like stop just in case the guy throws something at his car. And
Yeah.
I was just laughing, couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. It was so random too. And we got back to the hotel room, and then if I remember correctly, all of a sudden Chris just falls asleep. He was like the first person to fall asleep at the hotel room. And I just it was such a fun night. It kind of reminds me of Darlington last year in 2021 at the 500 last year, because when Denny Hamlin won, that's his first time seeing Denny Hamlin win the race in person for Chris. And he was doing the same thing. Like haters gonna hate. Like y'all haters need to quit hating on Denny Hamlin. We won the race. And I remember we stopped at this gas station at like it was at least after midnight. I do remember this. And I bought like I was hungry. I had nothing to eat at that time. I said, I'm gonna buy this 2-day old chicken sandwich at this gas station. It still smells
Oh,
fine.
no.
No, it smells fine. Thomas bought like some ramen noodles, and I think Chris bought like a hot dog, like Nathan's hot dog ready to go, hot dogs or whatever at the store. And was so he got the last one, which was unfortunate. We got back to the hotel room, and we stayed at in Rockingham, North Carolina. And I was looking around the hotel room, and I was like, "Where the hell is the microwave? There's no microwave in here.
Oh,
How can
no.
I heat up my food?" And Thomas had a brilliant idea. He took the coffee maker with the ramen noodles and put water in it, and it burnt it's hot
What?
water, and that's how he ate it.
What?
And it worked. It worked for him. It worked for him. And then Chris, the first person, I mean, Chris was already drunk,
Yeah.
and and and, uh, and before we went to the gas, I forgot to tell you this. Before we went to the gas station, he was telling Thomas like, "Are we gonna go to Domino's? Are we going to Domino's? Are we going to Domino's?" And Thomas kept saying like, "No, no. By the time we get there, it's gonna be closed." And I say about 2 minutes later, um, as Chris is drunk walking, as some couple or something was saying, "We're gonna go visit Grandpa," and Chris is like, "I want to go visit Grandpa," and 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 2 minutes later,
Yo,
after that,
yeah.
2 minutes later after that, Chris, Chris, Chris told Thomas again, "Are we going to Domino's?" And Thomas got mad. Thomas got mad and threw the cooler. He's like, "I ain't playing, man." And
Oh
I
my
was
god.
like, I was just watching. Like, there's nothing I could do in this situation.
Holy shit.
And we were we were probably like 20. I say about 30 minutes from the hotel room. And then Chris said, "Thomas, I probably asked you this 100 times, but are we going to Domino's?" And Thomas says, "No. By the time we get to the hotel room, it's going to be closed." And Chris was like, "All right." As soon as we got to the hotel room, guess who was the first person to fall asleep? It was
Chris.
Chris.
Yep.
Chris ends up falling asleep. The first person, after witnessing his favorite driver, ends up winning the race. Um, it was a pretty wild trip, and but when I went to Nashville last year, oh my goodness, um, you're talking about a story that is very unforgettable, and that's the first time I ever saw you at Nashville
That's right. That's right.
at the racetrack because I ran it and I was like, "Hey, you Dalton good?" And you're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "You smoke?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And that was the first time we interacted,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah,
and
I was standing in the concession stand lines. You came up to me.
yeah, and I was battling a hangover that day too. I was battling a hangover, and but Nashville was such a fantastic trip that I feel so bad for one of my good friends. He got so messed up during that weekend. Like it got so bad. Like he even told me like it felt like I was dying, dude. Like he got so wasted. It was so bad that night. And Thomas wasn't feeling great. He wasn't feeling the best at all that day. And Chris was just having a good time in Nashville. We went to all the bars. We went bar hopping. Um, saw the Nissan Titanium's Stadium.
Yeah.
That was cool. Um, I even met Eric Jones at the Doc Holiday bar, and we went to this bar that was so cool that it's 3 levels. It's 3-story level bar called Nudies, and
Yeah.
we went through the bars and we danced. Like I danced my ass off. Like I was sweating and drinking
Yeah.
whiskey, Sunny D vodka shots. You
Oh my
name it,
god.
and you name it. There was even a shot I tried at this arcade bar when I was there. Called it was like the Oreo uh shot or whatever, $10 shot, and I tried it and I loved it.
That does sound good,
And
actually.
yeah, met a couple people down there that were really cool, and this is a small world because one of the guys that we ran into works at the NBA Charlotte Hornets stadium basketball court at like the gift shop, and he said he gets like access to the to like the VIP and get to meet the basketball players and all that kind of stuff, which that's pretty cool. And I was thinking about taking a friend of mine to one of the basketball games there for his favorite basketball team for one of the games. It was such a great trip that I actually went back to Nashville twice that that Saturday night and Sunday night after the cup race. And that cup race that Sunday was hot as
Yeah.
balls. It was
Yep.
so hot. And like I was surprised I made it through that day. And Chris was like, "Hey, you want to go back to Nashville?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let's go to Uber driver. Let's go." So we went the second night, and my both of my friends were hammered. I didn't drink much that night, and once we got to the parking lot, and once we got to the Uber car to head back to the hotel room, my friend was leaning on me. Like I had no idea why why like I'm in the middle like squished up. Like I can't move at all. And
Yeah.
then as soon as he opened the door to get out of the car, it went everywhere,
Oh my
all over in the parking
god.
lot.
Shit.
And I actually saved the footage of what happened, and I'll send you one of them later.
Oh shit.
And it was so crazy. Like I was there with him. Like Chris was saying, like, man, his vomit went from Nashville all the way to South Boston, Virginia, and it's going down like a freaking river. And we picked him up, put him in the hotel room. We actually bust through the hotel door as like FBI opened up, and Thomas was in the bed sleeping, busted open, and he woke up. He's like, "What the is going on? Like, what the f?" And I was like, help." And
Help.
we 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 carry his my friend's name's Zach, the one that got really messed up. We carried him. We took him to the bathroom to use the toilet, and we took him to the toilet, and he was letting it all out, just get it out of his system. And then all of a sudden, Thomas got up and he says, "I gotta use the bathroom." So Zach's head was in the tub. I mean, it was in the toilet, just letting it all out. So, and Thomas is a big dude. He legitimately
Yeah.
picked up Zach and put him in the bathtub and cut the shower on to help him sober up. And
Shit.
Chris was just Snapchatting everything. He was recording all of it, and just insane on how much was going on in that bathroom. Just them three. I was just on the bed laughing my ass off. And if you and the vlog is there. Like the vlog is on my channel if you want to watch the Nashville vlog where everything would happen with all the partying and all that. And then at
Oh,
the
I
end,
seen it.
uh yeah, and Chris saying like, "I want to give a shout out to Nicholas for getting us on this vlog." And then like a minute, 2 minutes later, after I finish the vlog, wrapping it up, Chris went to the bathroom and throwing up.
Dude.
And I remember that Sunday morning I got up to go brush my teeth, and then I looked in the sink. Don't want to talk about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I ain't looking at that when I brush my teeth. It was so
Yeah.
bad.
Jesus
So we
Christ.
rode home Monday. Yeah, we rode home Monday, and Zach was in the back seat, like sleep, dead to the world, won't wake up or anything. Like he was hungover, like bad. And Chris was kind of the same way. It was just me and Thomas just riding. We stopped at a Buffalo Wild Wings and just ate. And Zach was like just eating, his eyes closed. It was a wild trip.
That's why I'll never drink, dude.
Man, I had my fair shares of drinking and getting drunk, but that was one of the wildest trips. And I even told my friends like I kind of want to write a book sooner or later because of the amount of trips I go on to and go to races. And I'm definitely going to add pretty much everything from that trip because it's just
Yeah.
wild. And didn't you get drunk from drinking a crap ton of Four Locos? Because
Oh my god.
that's not a
No.
smart plan.
No. Okay. So this was Talladega. So this was shout out Mike from the Stock Car Speckle podcast. This was his bachelor
Hmm.
party. Like we all went to Talladega for his bachelor party weekend. And I went to work on that Friday and I drove. It's only a 3 hour drive from my house to Talladega. So I went to work and I
Oh,
left at
that's not
12 and I went.
bad.
Oh no! And I went straight to Talladega right after work, and I get to the campsite at around I think 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, something like that. And we were going to go to the boulevard that night. And I said, boys, it's been
Hmm.
a rough work week. I need a beer. And I thought they were going to give me a Bush Apple or a Mike's Hard Lemonade or some shit, but they gave me this Four Loko, and I never heard of this drink in my entire fucking life. Okay,
Oh
and
no!
and I thought it
No.
was a seltzer. I just thought it was a normal seltzer, and
No.
he, and he had said, "Here, drink this," and
I'm
I
not a
look
fan
at
of
it,
seltzers.
yeah, and he had said, "Here, take a sip of this," and I look at the can, I said, "This is 14% alcohol. You're trying to kill my ass?" And they're all like, "Hey, Dalton, Kyle won the Bristol dirt race last week. You should celebrate." I said, "Good point. Fuck it." And so I took a sip of it, and it was actually pretty good. Like the four logos are actually not bad. Uh, and
They
again,
get you really fucked up.
I thought it was just a seltzer, and so I said, "What can this ain't gonna hurt?" Like, I mean, and that's the way I am. Like if I'm gonna drink, like it's just one, like the whole day, and I'm done. And it's also if I'm not going anywhere, if I'm not driving anywhere or anything, like I'll drink at home. Like if I'm seriously not doing
Mhm.
anything, like watching a ball game or some shit like that. And so I drink the Four Loco. I drank it in like 45 minutes, and this was my first
Oh,
time I
no.
ever felt. This is my first time I ever felt drunk, and so I'm sitting there like this, and I'm laughing at every time somebody says something to me like uncontrollably, and I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with me?" And back to the story about
Mhm.
your friends throwing up in Nashville. I hate throwing up. Like I haven't thrown up
Yeah,
in
it's
I, I haven't thrown up in 12 years, and I'm trying to keep that streak going. Like because I just hate that feeling so much, and so like that's
mhm,
that's another reason why I don't want to drink. Like that's like my worst thing is just throwing up. I don't want to do it, and
mhm,
I started getting an anxiety attack because of that. Like it literally gave me an
yeah,
anxiety attack. And so
mhm,
I get asked my friends, I'm like, when do I sober up? Like, when's this go away? And they were like 1 hour. And I had to get them to carry me to my car so I could turn on the AC full blast. And I sat there
mhm,
uh, trying to drink water and eat chips, like very slowly. And my
mhm.
anxiety attack was so bad. I actually had to have Ian and one of Dakota's friends come into the car with me and like talk to me about whatever, just like get my mind off it and calm me down. And
Yeah.
after an hour later, like I finally calmed down. I felt good again. I drank some more water and I went to the boulevard and then I went to the went back to the tent later after that night and then I slept pretty good, I should say.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, I had my
no
fair
four,
shares
no
having
four
getting
locos.
drunk and yeah, like, I know I had a Four Loko, but I only drank 1, and I was fine, kind of fine afterwards, but I drink Budweiser every once in a while, but ever since I've been going to the gym and, I haven't drank alcohol in quite some time, and, just going to the gym, working out, feeling a lot better than usual. But, I had my fair shares of, uh, getting really, really drunk. The only thing I don't like about getting drunk is blacking out drunk. It's not the best feeling ever, and,
Yeah,
vomiting drunk is not the best feeling because you don't know where it's gonna come out of.
I don't want to
It
do it. No,
sucks. It sucks so bad, and, the hangover is awful, and, like, I was drinking whiskey and moonshine. That's the worst combination you can do, and I got
yeah, I can't
so
do that.
hammered,
Yeah, I can't do
and
that
then
either.
after the and that was, like that happened not th it was a couple years ago, but I had that in May, and I didn't drink any alcohol till, like, that November year. That's how bad it was. That's how messed up I got.
Yeah, you
But,
needed a break.
yeah, I really needed it. But, it was good. It was a good time. I enjoy drinking with some friends and have a great time, and, but, also, when you're thought it was a seltzer, and I personally don't like seltzers at all. I just don't like the taste of them.
That's all I
Um,
can do. Like I can't do like a
and
straight beer, like 'cause it's like tasteless. So like I gotta have something like
yeah,
fruity. I gotta have something like Mike's Hard or a Red Apple Ale. Like that's the only thing I can do.
yeah, like that's fine because like there's times where I just don't want to taste beer. There's times where I just want have you ever had the red and blue striped Smirnoff drink?
Yes,
Like
I love that so
those things are
much.
good. Those things
Yes,
are really good,
yes.
and, those are good. The Seagram fruit drinks, those are really good. I can drink a bunch of those, and then I could get on the beer and drink as many.
Yeah.
I gotta start something first, and then I could continue. Because I remember one of the South Boston races, this year, and, I think it was because I can't remember what was the whole point. I think it was because I hit like a certain amount of subscribers or something, and like I want to celebrate. I want to have a great time. Have just have the best time, and I don't even think I was recording. I think I was. I just couldn't remember. I don't think I was because most of the time I'm always sober when I record. Regardless, that's the best thing to do. And but I decided not to record this week, this race because I did so many South Boston races already, and I got hammered. I drank like 10 beers at least, and 10 drinks, and I remember a friend of mine. Uh, he had some what is it called? Michelob
I've heard
beers,
of that. Yeah, yeah,
which I like. I like Michelob beers. I think they taste pretty good. He had some, and then Chris had some beer, Bud Light lime drinks. I never had those, and then I tried it, and I was like, "These are pretty good." He only had a couple, and he's like, "You can have them all," and I said, "That's fine with me. I'll drink them."
yeah,
And I think I bought a Tall Boy Budweiser can or something, and drank that. No, I had two Budweisers at the bar before we went to the race because we ate. I had 2 beers, and I was feeling really good, and my friend had the Miglos, and I was like, "Can I have some of your Miglos?" And he's like, "This is all the beer I got," and I'm like, "Please, man, can I have some? Like, I want some Miglos, man." And I probably drank like 5 Miglos from his cooler at least, and he 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 told Chris, he's like, "Yeah," it told Thomas. He said, "Yeah, he got a hold to the majority of my Michelos after the race," and I felt great. I had a great time. It was fun, but it was. I think that happened during June or July, one or the other. But it was a good night for sure.
yeah.
All right, let's get back into something else. All right, so since the announcement of Kyle Busch is going to RCR on the number 8 in 2023, do you think he's going to win some races next year?
Yeah, I think he'll win a couple. I'm not expecting like an 8-win season like he did in his first year at Joker's Racing back in 2008. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going that high, but Kyle just has to take a step up in some way next season.
Mm-hmm.
He can't have another season like he's had the past 3 years. You know, like he's got to take a step up. It's because I feel like this season is going to define the rest of his career. If you think about it, like I think
Mm-hmm.
this is going to determine like how he'll run at RCR for the rest of his career. And he's going to stay at RCR. Like he's not going through this, free agency contract problems ever again. Like he's retiring for sure at RCR. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to make something happen next year. Um, what I am wanting from Kyle this year as a fan is 3 wins. I think 3 to 4 wins would be very satisfying for me. Um, just start competing for wins week in and week out like you used to. Like
Mm-hmm.
get back to the 2010s where you were top 5, top 10 almost every single week and running up front and
Mm-hmm.
competing for wins. Having fast race cars each and every week. You got to get back to that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also, round of 16 elimination that does not need to happen ever again. Period. Um,
Mm-hmm.
got to make it to the round of 8 at least. If you make it to the round of 8 and you go to the championship 4, we go to the championship 4, we got a shot at a championship, and whatever happens there happens there. And if you don't make it to the championship 4, I mean, it is what it is. You can try again next year. You
Mm-hmm.
just got to make something happen. But I was very against Kyle going to RCR this year. Like when they were listing all the teams that Kyle had options for, like Stuart Haas and RCR and Colleague. Like, I wanted all but RCR. Like, I'm like, because I don't trust RCR after Kevin Harvick left. I thought, in my opinion, that RCR wasn't the best ever since Harvick left that race team.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot about everything that Tyler Reddick has done in that car all season, and Tyler Reddick had a pretty decent year in that car. So I feel like if Kyle can have the same season this year as Tyler Reddick did in that car
Mm-hmm.
this year, uh, outside of getting eliminated in round 1 as well, That'd be a good season. That's just what I'm wanting to see out of him for next year. But again, you got to take a big step up, and you got to start winning a lot more than one race a year.
Hmm. I was kind of thinking like, what tracks can he win in that A car? And we've seen how good that A car could be ran by Tyler Reddick, for example. But I was kind of thinking like, what tracks can Kyle Busch really win at in that A car? And I was like, well, I can see him win Kansas for sure, one of the Kansas
Yeah.
races, because he always runs good there. He had bad luck at Kansas until he starts winning at
Oh
Kansas,
yeah.
pretty much. And
Super speedways. If you think about
super
so
speedways,
with him not being a Toyota anymore and being outnumbered, he's got a lot more teammates to work with for the super speedways
yeah,
now, and that's what's getting me very excited about this. So look for him there.
yeah. Yeah, like he's got more help now at super speedways now because there's more Chevys and besides Ford, they got a lot of Fords now, but and then you got more Chevys, but there's less Toyotas in general.
Yeah.
And he's I think since he's going to be an RCR, him working with his teammate Austin Dillon, but you also got the Hendrick guys, which they know how to team up pretty good, and even Trackhouse knows how to team up pretty good. And I can see Kyle Busch running up there, and probably like in the Daytona 500, up in top 10 at least, and maybe top 5 at least. But
Yeah.
pretty much with the super speedway races, it's all luck. It's majority luck, pretty much,
Oh yeah.
and it's gonna be a different thing. And also, we saw how good the 8 car is at road courses, and
Yeah.
that road course program is pretty solid if you think about it, and see
Yeah.
how that
Joe Gibbs
goes. And
Racing's Joe Gibbs Racing's road course program was just dog shit all year. It was the
yeah,
worst ever.
yeah, and I was kind of thinking like Texas maybe Kyle Busch could win at Texas, maybe. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah. I mean, and
possible.
he's good at Texas too.
Yeah, he's good at Texas. I can see him win Kansas. I mean, shoot, it would be cool to see him win that Bristol night race in that 8 car.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's good at Bristol, and I mean, I'm down to see that if it happens.
Yep.
I just want to see Kyle Busch winning that 8 car in person. That would be real. That would be something to see. That would be great to see.
Yeah.
Um, I think with Kyle Busch going to the 8 car and trying to get all these sponsors, like obviously Sling TV is looks like they're going to be on board for a bit. Uh, I don't know if 3CH, the marijuana vape
Oh,
brand,
3G.
yeah, I don't know if they're going to be with the 8 car or they're just going to go
Actually,
with Tyler Reddick. I'm not
actually,
sure on that.
actually. So I read an article right after the Phoenix race last week, and it was an article about Kyle's like last race of Joe Gibbs Racing and M&M's. Uh, there was a question someone asked him about has he already got started on RCR already? Now due to his contract, he can't yet until like January because like his contract like literally doesn't end until like New Year's Eve this year. So he's still got to do some stuff with Joe Gibbs
Yeah.
Racing and M&M's, especially for the awards banquet coming up. But he
Hmm.
said that he's already visiting the RCR shop. He's already talking to Austin Dillon about some stuff. Here's an interesting quote
Hmm.
though. So he's Austin Dillon's trying to help him get a hunting license. Yeah, I'm
That's
dead ass.
interesting.
And so they're doing that. So maybe a Realtree sponsorship because and Tyler Reddick like usually does Realtree for every year for the Dega Fall race. So that could be
Hmm.
one. And also Bass Pro Shops too. And also
Yeah.
back to 3Cheap. They asked Kyle, so like what are you gonna think about the season and or how you gonna reflect on this year, on the plane ride back home. And he said, I'm probably just gonna pop a 3G and not think about it. So that's kind of a hit right there. So
That's kind of cool. I mean, he's good
yeah.
with quoting and talking about his sponsors and stuff, which that's pretty cool. And I was kind of thinking like, what other sponsors would be cool? And then I even mentioned about Reese's and them sponsoring. But I was kind of thinking like, what other brand would be really cool to see on that number 8 car? And I was like, it'd be kind of funny to see a Budweiser 8 car again
Right.
because back, as Dale Jr. fans, you know, people make like concept art of like Kyle Bush's name over the number 8 Dale Jr. DEI number 8 font, and
Yeah.
you got a bunch of people not happy about it. And then since we can't have the DEI number 8 font, it's a reality now because of Kyle Busch going to the actual 8 car.
Yeah.
So
Like
it pretty much it was a prediction to happen in the future.
do a throwback, like a Dale Jr. throwback for the Darlington race this year.
Yeah, I was like, man, that would be really cool but funny at the same time.
dude,
Um,
dude, I can't wait to see what happens. Unfortunately, like with Busch being one of the premier sponsors, like Budweiser's probably not going to happen. But
no,
that would be an ultimate troll job.
it'll be great to see. I was like, I like to see like kind of like Dewalt Stanley or Pet on the 8 car or something, or um, what other brands would be cool? It would be kind of cool to see Target come back or see Walmart sponsor the 8 car. But just don't know. I'm excited to see what kind of merch they're going to be dropping and what the schemes are going to
I'm,
look like on the 8
I can't
car.
wait to buy. Yeah, I can't wait to buy some right now. Like I'm dying till for January now just to get the merch ready. But really for me, I'm gonna support
Hmm.
like whoever's on the car. Like if you're on the car there, I'll buy your brands. I'll do everything to support you. My whole room will be decorated, whatever it is. So I just can't wait to
Hmm.
see what happens. But Richard said they already got commitments. He said that at the press conference when they introduced him. Um,
Hmm.
so it does sound like to me that a majority of Tyler Reddick's sponsors are going to stay with Kyle, but of course at the same time they're looking at other people, just in case. But so hopefully Cheddar's 3T would be funny as hell for me because I don't even
Hmm.
smoke anything,
Yeah.
so that's gonna be odd. But yeah, I'll take anybody. Like I don't care. Just say if you're on Kyle's car, I'm happy to have you on there.
Yeah. And I was thinking like, what if they put like Rowdy, like an associate sponsor on the 8 car? I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Unfortunately, that can't happen either because and Kyle talked about this like in Watkins Glen weekend, like during the press conference. Dave Booty like asked the final question that presser, and he was asking about Rowdy Anderson being a sponsor, and Kyle said, that can't happen. Like we're not like where we need to
Hmm.
be financially to do
Hmm.
that yet. And basically, that'd be Kyle like spending his own money to do that. I mean, if he ever does, it'd only be for like one race, and that'd be it. Like one race in a lifetime, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, I could definitely see that in a truck series, though. The truck series route
Hmm.
energy sponsorship would make a lot of sense. But for Cup, I
Hmm.
think this is too much. And like you said, like they're not at that point yet.
Well, that's another good point because if you think about it, Rowdy, even though Rowdy is Kyle Busch's brand, but that since Kyle Busch is a part of RCR, RCR is a Coca-Cola family, like Austin Dillon. I was like, maybe it's also because of Coca-Cola is also on board with RCR too.
Yeah,
I mean, that could be another situation too. And
that'd be
I
awesome.
know it'd be cool. It'd be cool to see it for sure. I mean, think about it. We could have a Coca-Cola number 8 car or something.
I would
It's
love it. I'd be
possible.
all for that, dude. Like, and Dale Sear drove a Coca Cola car one time too. So, like with the Looney
And Dale
Tunes,
Jr.
yeah, it can
Yeah.
it can happen. Yeah, I would love that too. I mean, Rat is probably not gonna like that because like they don't want to, the way that those drinks are like with a lot of sugar, a lot of caffeine. That's what not what Ratty Energy
Mhm.
is. So they might not like
Mhm.
that. But dude, yeah, I give anything for Coca Cola sponsorship.
Well, kind of thinking of it, didn't I, I think it was in the I Am Athlete documentary with Kyle Busch where he was asked the questions of like about Rowdy Energy, and Kyle Busch said, "Yeah, we had the guy from like Monster Energy, and Monster Energy is under Coca Cola brand pretty much." And I
Yeah,
was like, "Well, I mean, it could work out kinda, but you also have agreements and contracts as well." And
yeah.
I know that saying contracts are made to be broken, but in this situation, I wouldn't break this. I wouldn't do it. But it'd be kind of
No.
cool to see it in the truck series.
Yeah.
And and the crazy thing is, Kyle Busch going to Chevrolet. This is he hasn't been in a Chevrolet in like what 15 years at least,
Yep.
about
Oh
15
seven.
years. Yeah, so it's going to be different and new. And as a Chevrolet guy, it's going to be great to see what Kyle Busch can do with the other Chevrolet teammates for sure. And I just want to see him working things out with um besides RCR with the team, but I want to see him working things out with like Hendrick and Team Trackhouse and see the affiliation, the alliance of the Chevrolets working together. And they usually have like a big driver Chevrolet meeting to team up and work things out as possible
Yeah.
and get some insight from Kyle Busch and see what he has to say. And now, since Kyle Busch KBM is going to Chevrolet for trucks. We got Chase Purdy and Jack Wood piloting for KBM, and I could see Chase Purdy doing good, but Jack Wood on the other hand, I was thinking like this year compared to last year with GMS Racing Truck Series, the truck team. I was like, man, GMC lost Sheldon Creed, the guy that really helped the team out pretty good. Even Brett Moffitt. I wish they never got rid of Brett Moffitt because Brett Moffitt was really good with GMS. And I was like, what happened to GMS racing in the truck series? Didn't win
I
any races, didn't do anything.
well, I think it's just because they're focused on the merge with Petty Rich Petty Motorsports now. Like they're
Yeah.
putting more funding into that instead of their truck team now.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that. And then, Jack Wood be wrecking week in and week out pretty much, even if it's his fault or not his fault. I mean, it just happens. And Chase Purdy be racing. He'll be doing decent at times, but um, I think Chase Purdy could win at least at least win a truck race next year for sure. I could see him winning a race for
I'm
KBM.
not
But
I'm not
they,
really that I'm not really that big of a fan of the lineup, but
hmm
Purdy can be decent. Sometimes is, sometimes not.
hmm
Uh, we'll just see how it goes. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but a little bit low
hmm
expectations for next year on that lineup.
But I was kind of thinking, like, what about John Hunter Nemechek? But John Hunter Nemechek is like
Toyota.
definitely sticking with Toyota. He's under Toyota. And I mean, this year alone, Toyota lost a lot of great drivers, pretty much.
Just
They
like
lost a
always.
lot,
Yeah.
like always. And then when they lost Chandler Smith, I was like, that's a big deal. Like Chandler Smith has got a bright future. He's really good. He is a good driver, and he's going to College Grayson. And nothing against Brandon Jones. I like Brandon Jones, and since he's going to Junior Motorsports, I could see him doing pretty well at Junior Motorsports. And I was like, I kind of wish Chandler Smith went to Junior Motorsports too. I really did. But we'll see how things go. But I think Chandler Smith and is going to really help out College Racing.
Yeah, I'm excited for the kid. I mean, he was one of my favorite KBM drivers. I got to meet him at the Bristol Dirt weekend this year. Um,
Mhm.
that sucks to see him go, but I'm glad he's moving up. I think he's with a good race team, and hopefully he can keep it up and move it up to Cup next here in a couple of years.
Yeah, I met Chandler Smith. He's a really good dude. He's really
Oh
cool,
yeah,
really chill.
yeah.
Um, and I saw him win Pocono and Richmond this year. He's always a really cool dude. And I think with the amount of talent that has left Toyota, it kind of questions you like, Toyota, what are you doing? Like, is it because and if you think about it about Joe Gibbs racing, look what happened to Eric Jones. I think, in my opinion, with Eric Jones, I think they didn't give him the good equipment. Like they gave him like the least best equipment, and he's taking the 43 car to victory lane. He just took it to Darlington, and it's like, you just got rid of Eric Jones. He's a Truck Series champion. He is a good driver. He is a good driver. He's got talent. He can drive. And Toyota just got rid of him because, if you ain't winning, you're pretty much going to lose your ride. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for Eric Jones because I always liked Eric Jones, and seeing him win at Darlington for the first time, and I was really happy to see him win in that 43 car. Not gonna lie, I was like, him, Noah Gregson, and then Jimmy Johnson coming along as well. I'm excited to see what Petty GMS is going to do. I'm excited to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. I'm excited for that. Pay GMS. Jimmy Johnson. And that news was like completely out of nowhere.
It
When
was.
I was on Fan Fuel talking to like about the Martinsville weekend at that time, and
Mhm.
Keith Merrick. I don't know if you know him. He's one of the
I
NASCAR
know
personalities.
he's one of my good
Yeah,
friends.
yeah, he's a big
Yeah.
time Jimmy Johnson fan. And I got a text in my
Mhm.
group chat of someone sending a tweet from Jordan Bianchi reporting the news. And so I had to like stop the show. Like I was a guest. I'm like, guys, we need to stop the show. We got to talk about something right here. I told him the news about it, and he immediately goes to grab his Jimmy Johnson shirt. And we were just talking about for a couple minutes about that. And yeah, that's good for Petty. And like Richard Petty
Mhm.
said, I mean, he's not going to be around for 15 to 20 years. I mean, he's 84 years
No.
old. And so, Jimmy Johnson, he's already thinking about the future. So, Jimmy Johnson's ready to take full control of that race team, whenever
Mhm.
Rich Petty hangs it up. So, I think that's going to make that team a lot better. I
Mhm.
don't know if they announced this yet, or I might have missed it, but I'm wondering if this could mean Petty moves from ECR engines to Hendrick engines because of this move.
It's possible. I mean, anything is possible. I mean, I could see it happening, but um with Jimmy Johnson's success work, and I mean, Hall of Fame career for sure, obviously, but we saw what he did for Hendrick for winning races, championships, and all that kind of stuff, and hard work pays off. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, it can happen with the engine changing and parts changing for sure.
Yeah.
And now Jimmy Johnson is going to race in the Daytona 500 next year, which I'm looking forward to. And I was talking to Thomas about it, and I was like, I kind of want to go back to the Daytona 500 next year. Like, I really do, but I don't think it's going to work out because of the other races we're planning to go to. And it's just it's something to think about for sure. And I'm hoping he'll run the Coca-Cola 600 this year, which I'm
I think he's
excited for
gonna
that.
run like the big races, like Indy
Hmm.
Road Course, Daytona 500, Coke 600, Bristol Night Race, and there's probably
Southern
gonna be
500.
yeah, like mostly the historic races.
Yeah, I could see him running those races, and probably Martinsville because Martinsville is his stomping ground too. I can see
Yeah.
him running that race for sure. And also I cannot wait to see that merch to come out too for that. And when Jimmy Johnson announced that he was going to be a part with Petty GMS, I was like, man, it's really cool, really great opportunity to see Seven Time to come back. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, he even though he can't race for Hendrick, I think it would have been cool if he also went to Trackhouse too. I mean, Trackhouse is a team that's really getting up there. Won 3 races this season, the whole team. They also had the Project 91 car, which I'm
Yeah,
excited
see,
to
that was
see
my
more
first
driver
thought.
announcement. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
was like,
that was my first thought about Jimmy going there.
yeah, and I was like, I think Trackhouse got the fundings, the sponsor. They got Pitbull. I mean, Pitbull is rich, got a lot of money. I was like, imagine Jimmy Johnson went to Trackhouse. That team would be a beast for sure. definitely a beast.
Yeah.
So things didn't work out with that. I mean, great to see sometime Jimmy Johnson coming back into NASCAR again. Love seeing that. I know Blue Jimmy is excited for that shirt for sure. And Keith Merrick is excited. And speaking about Keith Merrick, I even asked him, does he want to be interviewed just like this? He's like, sure. I'm like, kudos. I'm ready for that for sure.
All right.
And it's gonna be great to see that. All right. So we got one thing to discuss about Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, 60 Cup wins, two-time Cup Series champion 2015, 2019, 102 Xfinity wins, 2009 Xfinity champion, and 62 truck wins without a Truck Series champion. And, Kyle Busch even mentioned that once he retires from Cup, he's debating to run a Truck Series run for the Truck Series champion.
Yeah.
Um, I think he will do that for sure. So he could be the first person to win all three national champions.
Oh, definitely. And it's gonna be with
Yeah,
the son
and
racing too.
yeah, and I
That's
was
gonna be
thinking
badass.
like that's gonna be awesome. And I was kind of thinking like other drivers that one and two, um, kind of like one, two champions from different series, but except for one. And I was thinking like, Kyle Busch is not the only person with that achievement because Austin Dillon is another guy. He's just got to win the Cup Series champion. Brad Keselowski is another one. Greg Biffle and Joe Logano never won an Xfinity Series champion. Never did in his career, which that's kind of surprising if you think about it. Clint Boyer's an Xfinity champion.
Yeah. Ain't that random?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he got champion.
Yeah.
Uh, Kind of like I wish like Tyler Reddick got the truck champion. I kind of wish Eric Jones got the Xfinity champion or something. I mean, that would be a big honor for that. Like
Yeah.
I do remember one of the random Xfinity champion wins was Chris Buescher, and Chris Buescher is an underrated driver for sure. Very underrated,
Yep.
and I kind of wish I really want to see Brad Keselowski win the Bristol Night Race because I mean he had a really fast car
He could have.
till he blew it. And hell, even Christopher Bell could have won.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully for next year, I'm hoping we'll see the same thing from like this year, seeing more than 16 drivers win this next year. I'm hoping that happens again. I would love
I
to see
mean,
that.
I wouldn't mind it too. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like next year everybody's gonna have this whole car figured out, and like we're probably gonna get back to one guy winning 10 a year and other like four more cars like dominate, taking majority of the season. I guess
Hmm.
we'll see. They're probably gonna. I think they're making like nose changes to every manufacturer next year, is what I'm hearing. I
Hmm.
don't know. That's
Hmm.
probably gonna change everything and probably make it more parity into it. But we'll see how it goes. But I just don't see it being like this year for next season.
Yeah, it's something to like, since they have all this time working on the cars now, and since it's the off season, pretty much they just gonna have like a lot of time to get all the kinks out of these cars and figure it out what they can rig on these things and make them go a lot faster and just win races in general. But with these cars, um, it took time to get used to them for sure. It took a lot of time to get used to these cars and try to see what they can improve on it. And and hopefully with with Blake Harris going to the 48 car next year, hopefully we'll win more than two races at least. Hopefully we'll win at least four, just like the other year. But we'll just see how it goes. I do have one thing before we end this. Daytona 500 this year. First time going. Loved it. Had a great time. The iconic video.
Yes. Yes.
Who it was. Lap 60.
Holy shit. So like, are you just wanting me to like recap like how everything that went down and like that whole day pretty much, or how do you want to do it?
Surprisingly, they caught you saying that.
Yeah. Like, okay, so yeah, this was like technically my first ever Daytona 500. Now, I tried going in 2020, but I'm never gonna count that one because that was just that was a horrible day. Um, like my mom got me tickets, and we were gonna be at Disney again for the first 2 days, and I was excited. This had 2015 Homestead vibes. I was so looking forward to it, and I remember the weather was beautiful that morning. It looked like it was gonna be good for the whole day, and then first it got started off with our rental car. We had to go to this hotel to pick up our rental car from Hertz, and we get there, the same address that they sent us in the email. They literally sent us an email where to go pick up our car with the numbers and everything. We get to that hotel, and they said we don't have rental cars. We're like, okay, what's going on? And then we try to figure it out. They give us a whole bunch of numbers to call, and then the final number they gave us to call was the same front desk we were literally standing in front of. And then we had to take a taxi to another hotel that had Hertz rental cars to try to get one. They didn't have any either. And then we had to Uber to another airport that had one, or hotel, and that address was literally a McDonald's. Like they literally wrote like the same address of McDonald's, and there was no hotel or anything like that. So at this point, we drove
Did
around.
you at least get a burger? Did you at least get something neat?
Not really, like, because we like spent, I think, an hour and a half like driving around Orlando trying to find a fucking rental car because no one at Hertz knows how to do their fucking jobs. And so we get to Daytona finally. We had to Uber all the way to Daytona, and we get there, like, we're trying to forget about everything that happened and enjoy the race, and then it becomes a damn monsoon. And unfortunately, I wasn't going to be able to make it back to the Monday race. Like, I mean, my flight didn't leave until 10 o'clock in the morning, but I would have had to find my way there, and my mom wasn't going to go. So I decided to watch the rest of the Daytona 500 that year in the bar at the Universal Studios. Like, I watched it at the NBC Sports Bar. And then right after that race ended, like, we went to the airport to catch our flight and went home. So I wanted to try next year's Daytona 500, but then COVID happened, and then it was limited capacity. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do a limited capacity. So I want the full experience, And I'm also glad I didn't go to that one because it rained that weekend too. And not only that, it was like a blizzard here in Nashville, so I would probably been trapped there, which wouldn't have been fun. So I tried again for this year, and me and Cooper were actually talking about it for a couple months. And on Christmas night last year, we texted each other and actually bought the tickets for Daytona. We were getting our trip planned, figuring everything out, and we finally made the decision to go. So I drove all the way from Knoxville, or from Murfreesboro to Knoxville to pick him up, and then we drove 8 hours all the way to Daytona Beach, and we spent the whole weekend there. I met Kyle Busch that Saturday at the 7-Eleven for the Rowdy Energy. Then me and Cooper spent the whole day just walking around the track. He went to the Bass Pro Shops across the street and got a Noah Gregson diecast for like $50. We watched the Xfinity race. We go to the Oyster Pub right after that. And then we finally get to Sunday. And we're sitting right at the edge of the turn 4. Like we're about to be at the very edge of the seats. And we're watching the race. I'm excited for it. And going into this Daytona 500, I didn't care about what happened to Kyle. I just I wanted to see a full 200 laps, like I didn't get to in 2020. Like, I just wanted to see the whole Daytona 500, and then I could say, okay, I watched the whole Daytona 500. I didn't care what happened. But then as the race goes on, the internet was pretty shitty. It was kind of hard getting text messages, and then everybody in my group chat kept telling me, hey, Dalton, y'all just on TV. Y'all were just on TV. That everybody was freaking out about it. And at first I thought I was like, okay, cool, but I thought it was just like a background shot to where like you could barely see me or whatever like that. But no, like once I finally got enough reception and looked at it on Twitter, it was like a full close-up shot of me and Cooper all
Of
together.
you
Like during the
saying
yeah, yeah,
saying
this is
the
the first
GDF.
time. This see, it wasn't once. It was like 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. The first shot
Mhm,
was during the side-by-side commercial break. Then it showed it to me
mhm.
again, going to commercial, me like clapping for Kyle like when he took the lead. Then we get to the legendary moment. So it was coming to the end of stage 1. And from where our seats are, like I can barely see the back stretch. Like that's the only part of the track I couldn't see. And I
Mhm.
hear fans yelling, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" like and screaming like there was a wreck. And I actually did see Harrison Burton flip in the air, so I knew it was a big wreck. And
Yeah.
like I said earlier, usually Kyle gets involved in the big wrecks in the super speedways, and I figured he got in it again, didn't he? And the intercom's like right in front of us, obviously, where we can hear it. And I was sitting there trying to listen if Kyle got involved, and I heard Kyle Busch's name being involved in the wreck, and that's when I yelled, "Big God fucking damn it!" live on TV, and
Yeah.
I had no idea they were on me. And then
Mhm.
I was waiting for Kyle to get back around after the wreck, and I thought he had a ton of damage, like where he was going to be done. But then we come back around, and
Mhm.
he only had fender damage, and there were a bunch of Kyle Busch fans sitting right next to me. They were like, "Hey, dude, that's not bad. We're just gonna like duct tape it. We'll get back out there." I'm like, "No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. At least he's still in it." And then I get a text from my mom, and she's now my mom's a saint. Okay, like she's very she doesn't really like the cussing too much. But then she texts me.
Yeah.
It says, "I know you're upset, but there were a lot of kids watching." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I thought for a second. I'm like, "No, no." And then I finally I had to wait for a reception again because the internet was just so shitty that day. And then a couple minutes later,
Yeah.
that's when I finally got the text like saying, "Hey, dog, you were just caught on camera yelling GFD." And it took me like 10 minutes to try to get the video to finally load. And
Mhm.
I was freaking out because like I literally just got caught like cussing on live television.
Saying it.
Yeah. And then I finally got the video, and it was just so funny. Like, and I was showing all the people around us, like I was showing everybody like sitting next to us, saying, "Hey, y'all, we were just on TV. Like, y'all can probably see yourselves too. We were all like watching their video on repeat to see if we like saw each other and shit like
Mhm.
that." And oh, dude, that was just so great. And then after that, the interaction I got like after that was just incredible. Like there were people like making memes about me, celebrities tweeting
Yeah.
about me, like NASCAR Chasm, Shannon Spake. There were
Mhm.
like local news reporters. There were a lot of
It
people
was
like tweeting about.
big.
Yeah, a lot of people tweeting
It
about
was
that
big.
video. And then the next day, I get
Mhm.
home, and I'm listening to the Dale Jr. download, and Mike Davis mentions me on his podcast. Like he doesn't say my name, of course, but
Mhm.
he talked about the Kyle Busch fan that was cussing like on live TV.
Mhm.
I remember like everybody on Twitter saying, "Hey, Dalton, like you were just mentioned on Dale Jr. I'm like, no, like
Mhm.
that happened, and like
Mhm.
that whole week, like nonstop, like I just kept getting like so much interaction for it, and it was just absolutely unbelievable. And then I gained 500 followers that whole week too. Like my
Mhm.
follower count like skyrocketed after that. So and I met a lot of new people too
Mhm.
on the way, like because of that moment. And oh, dude, that was just that was such a fun weekend, man. I can't believe that happened. And yeah, it was some wild shit. So like I will forever be known as the Kyle Busch fan that was raging after that first big wreck, and you get to see it on every highlight video on YouTube and everything like that.
Mhm.
Uh, oh yeah, man, it was awesome. It was an awesome weekend.
Yeah. It was my Daytona trip was wild too, and I ran into Dakota Rutledge by accident
Yeah, yeah.
in the
We
infield.
were staying at his Airbnb that weekend.
Mhm. And cool guy, really cool dude to know,
Yeah,
and it was great talking to him. And I did meet Kyle Busch that Saturday, no, Friday
Seven
before the
Eleven
truck race.
at the 7-Eleven.
No, no, at the inside the racetrack.
Oh,
He
okay.
was signing for fans,
Yeah, because I knew he
and
was because I knew he was doing the 7-Eleven Rowdy Energy meet and greet on Friday and Saturday. I did the one on Saturday. I didn't make it to Friday, but yeah, I did the one on Saturday.
Yeah, and always cool dude. Really great with fans. And I told him like good luck in the race, and he's like, thank you. And you got so many people trying to squeeze in. Thomas got lucky. He just saw a gap and just went past me and just put his hat in there and something. I got him to sign my hat. And also, I did meet Kyle Busch again at Richmond with the VIP passes.
There you
And
go.
honestly, I shouldn't ask him for the autograph at Richmond because he did not look happy at all. Like he looked mad as crap, and I was like, I shouldn't bugged him that time, but it's Kyle Busch. I couldn't resist
Yeah.
it. Why not?
Yeah.
And what happened? Oh yeah, and in the Daytona 500, I was also at the Xfinity race the day before. That was the first time I ever saw an actual race car flip in person, and saw Maya Slider go into the catch fence. That scared.
Yeah,
that was scary.
I was there too, dude. I was like, when I saw that fireball, it looked like bad from where I was sitting, but luckily he got out of it.
Yeah, and when you're vlogging, recording, you can, you have a reaction to what's going on, but you can't really see how far. I mean, I was at the very top of the track,
Yeah.
like very, very top, where you can see the whole thing. But I was too busy recording the front, and then I saw the car, but I was too focused on the leader, Austin Hill, when he won. And then when I went back and saw, and I was like, oh no. And when Harrison Burton flipped, that's when I got my actual reaction to him flipping. I was like, oh no, someone's flipping and such and such. And it was and I was like, Byron, oh, and someone's flipping and all this kind of stuff. And that whole Daytona trip, that Daytona trip is just as long we've been live right now, pretty much. And it was one of the most wildest trips I ever had. And it was Thomas's birthday that Sunday during that race, and we decided to go on the beach after the race, and we shouldn't have done that because it's not the brightest thing to do because we got chased on the beach.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so yeah, that wasn't fun. Yeah, that wasn't fun. We did get chased by a crackhead on the beach.
Oh my god!
That's Florida for you. That's Florida.
Yep. Florida man.
Florida. I like Florida man. I like reading what they post.
Florida man chases a NASCAR vlogger down the fucking beach.
Yeah. Yeah, he's yelling to slow down. I got die cast or something. I got a die cast and Taco Bell on me. I'll give it to you.
Shit, dude.
Just one exchange. Let me eat your face or something.
Oh
it was
my
one of
God.
the wildest stories I could say from our trip. And we're actually planning to go back to Daytona next year in the fall for the Coke Zero Sugar 400 and the Xfinity race, just to see what that's like for the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every race got its different vibe. Like Martinsville Spring, pretty calm, but when the playoffs come, it's wild.
Yep, best
It's
race. One of the best races of the year. Yep.
Yeah, and it's always Martinsville is my favorite track personally. But if I got to go with another track, I always enjoy like Charlotte and all that kind of stuff because of the amount of stuff you can do at Charlotte is amazing. Even Daytona was amazing.
I want to go back to Charlotte so bad, dude. Like, I love that city. It's been like way too long since I last been there. So hopefully I can do a Coca-Cola 600 trip there this coming season.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully, and also I did run into Connor at Martinsville. Like me and him were, and Martinsville doesn't have great reception. And
Yeah.
I was messaging him, and he told me where he was sitting. And I was like, dude, I was like row 43 in the next section. So you're not far, but I actually went down to Victory Lane just to see if I can meet Christopher Bell again. And and I looked at somebody's tag, and it said Connor, and I was like, "Hey, Connor, what's up, man? What's up?" Me and him talked for a while. I met this couple during the Xfinity race that Saturday. They asked, "Is anybody sitting here?" And I said, "No, you can sit there." And I started becoming friends with the husband, and the husband smoked a cigar, and he's like, He's like, "You want a cigar?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, let me have a cigar." So I smoked one with him, posted a picture
There
on
you go.
social media, and he just a cool dude.
Yeah.
Cool people. There's cool people out there. You just gotta find them.
Oh yeah. Every time you go to the racetrack, like you meet that one guy you're sitting next to, and like it makes your whole like race day enjoyable. Like you talk to somebody, and you make a friend out of it too. So I've been to a lot of Bristol races and really races around the
Mhm.
country where I've had that. Like 2017, the Bristol Night Race is where Kyle swept it. I sat on the rooftop that night in the infield, where
Mhm.
like the top of the infield care center, like that rooftop bar, and
Yeah.
next to me was this big Joe Logano fan. He was like high 40s, low 50s, something like that.
Mhm.
And he was talking to my dad, and he was like a really cool dude. And like he was they were just talking. I come up to him, and like he starts talking to me, just like being a very nice guy. And I talked to him back about some stuff, and we're just chilling, watching the race together. And he's one to like take a picture with me, just like because he sat next to a cool Kyle Busch fan. I said sure. And then after that race was over, Kyle won the race. He had his victory lane pass. He took it right off his like. There's like a victory lane sticker that you can put on your lanyard to get into
Mhm.
victory lane after the race is over. He literally just took it off without saying a word and put it on mine, and
Mhm.
said, "Go down there to victory lane." I said, "Dude, are you sure?" Like, and he said, "Yeah, like I'm a Joe Logano fan. I don't want to go there if Kyle Busch wins." So he gave me his victory lane pass, and yeah, that was hands down the best Joe Logano fan I ever met. Like he was such a cool dude. I hope I get to see him again sometime down the road. But yeah, man, you definitely do get to see that at races, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Speaking about Joe Logano fan, I did meet somebody that's a big Joe Logano fan. About 40s and 50s and all that. He was pretty cool too. It might be the same guy, but I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah,
Um, there's and most of the time there's people talk to. You don't know any of these people unless you talk to them.
right.
And that's why NASCAR is a family sport. I mean, you got your guys that don't like your driver and stuff like that. Just like this couple I met at Richmond as well, but they're really cool people.
Yeah,
Like yeah, I mean, you got you got the ones that dislike your driver. Besides, you got the ones that really hate your driver. But once you know them, they're cool.
yeah.
Majority of them are cool. Some of them not so much.
Yeah, and some of them like to give you a hard time too. Like my first Talladega
Mhm.
race, and remember that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. country, and I thought I was gonna get harassed there when I went there. Like I didn't think I was gonna make it out of there alive. Uh,
Mhm.
but I sat next to this junior fan, like sitting right behind me. He was giving me a hard time, but it was just for fun, and he was like a really cool dude. He kept asking
Mhm.
me almost like every 30 laps, say, "Hey, where's Kyle Busch at? Where's Kyle Busch at?" But overall, he was a really cool dude, and he let me
Yeah.
listen to his scanner a couple times. Like, he was a good dude. He showed me a lot of stuff, and
Mhm.
yeah, you like having guys like that too.
Mhm. Last year at Richmond in the playoff race, the Cup race. Um, I kid you not. This is one of the funniest things. Thomas decided to wear a Kyle Busch shirt because he likes Kyle Busch as well. He's a big Ryan Blaney fan too. Big Ryan Blaney fan, but he's like, I'm gonna wear this Kyle Busch shirt, and I'm like, okay, I'm just warning you, just
Yeah.
you know, just in case something happens. And then we were walking, and somebody's like, um, they said something, and he looked at Thomas like, "You can't come. You're a Kyle Busch fan." They were just messing with him.
Oh my god,
Yeah, it's
it's hard sometimes.
yeah, and wearing a Bowman shirt and dealing with he's a friend of mine, but he's a Kevin Harvick fan. He said something, and I said something to him. I said, "How does it feel for Kevin Harvick to be intimidated by Chase Elliott?" And he and I said, "Hey, Kevin Harvick, you know there's a turn right there." When he locked up and hit the wall at the
Right,
Roval.
right, yeah.
Uh, I think next year is going to be really cool for the racing season. I'm excited to see what Blake Harris is going to do with Bowman. I'm just hoping we win a lot more races. And since you saw Kyle Busch win so many times, I was luckily enough to see Bowman win at Martinsville. One of the biggest days of my life, and also seeing Dale Jr. win in person was also another big day of my life. I'm just hoping I can see Bowman do it again at one of the tracks I go to.
All right, yeah, yeah, dude. There's nothing like seeing your favorite driver win in person. You know, there's a lot of people, shockingly, that never got to have that opportunity.
Hmm.
Um, like my
Like,
dad, pretty much. Like my dad was a Davey Allison fan and Dale Earnhardt fan. Like he would go to Bristol and to Charlotte and Talladega most years, and never saw any of his drivers win. And then they pass away like tragically, you know. So
yeah.
and you know, there's a lot of people that are fans of active drivers right now just that actually never got to see a guy win. So you know, you cherish it, each one that you get. I've been lucky to see.
Hmm.
I want to say 13 wins, maybe 12, 13, somewhere around that range, and one championship too. Yeah, I'm just very lucky like that. But yeah, I'm glad you got to see Bowman win, and hopefully you can get to as more as me.
Yeah. I see Denny Hamlin win too many times. Like I saw him win
Yeah,
about 5 times, and same for Noah Gregson. Like I saw Noah Gregson win 4 Xfinity races already. It's crazy because I mean the guy's good. Guy's good what he does. Like Mark Truex Jr. I saw him win 4 times already, and I saw Kyle Busch win twice. That's it. Same for Harvick. No, 3 times for Harvick actually. Saw him win 3 times. But I was kind of looking back and I was like, I'm kind of happy I saw the drivers that retired now win a race in person. Pretty happy to see that too.
right.
And it's like Junior, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Carl Edwards. I saw Tony Stewart win the SRX race at South Boston. Um, it's it's one of those deals like you're happy to see these guys, but that's why you got to cherish these moments like that because these guys are not going to be around in the sport much long for sure.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so it's a big honor to see them guys win. Um, but that's it for the Carbon's mic off video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy it, hit that like button. Also subscribe for more, and put down in the comments down below on who do you want to see to get interviewed for this. Dalton, where can they find you?
Well, I'm the most famous Kyle Busch fan on Twitter. If you guys don't follow me already, but in case you don't, it's Dalton Good 18 on Twitter. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dalton Rowdy Bush 18. You better hurry before I change it to number 8 soon. um, but yeah, you can find me there on social media. Also, you can catch our podcast at Left Turn Cult. You can follow Left Turn Cult on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. Tune in Monday nights, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. We're thinking about some stuff for the offseason. We already did our season finale last week, but we're probably thinking about some video game streams, some streams where we just talk about whatever. You all are more than welcome to hop on. And also Rowdy Reactions for the Western Cult coming back next year for season 2. I'm still working out a schedule for that. I'm also thinking about having some guests. And Nick, if you don't mind, I'm actually thinking about maybe you and I doing one together sometime next year, if you're down with that.
Oh, that would be fun. Also,
Oh yes,
are you PlayStation or Xbox?
on PlayStation.
Sweet. Did you get the new Modern Warfare game?
I'm not really into Modern Warfare because I suck at shooting in that
Well,
game.
well, right now I'm going hardcore on God of War Ragnarok right now. So I mean, I'm a big time gamer anyway, but I'm definitely going deep in on God of War Ragnarok right now. But
Right.
that's awesome. I need to get your gamer tag.
Yeah, I don't know if my PS4 is working. I tried putting a game in. It said it wasn't like there was something wrong with it or something. I'm probably gonna have to fix that. And also, like, I had to move my TV like right here to live stream races, like, so I don't have to look this way to watch them, like I did early this year.
Mhm.
So there's not really room for me
Yeah.
to plug it in yet. I'm looking at a house though, and hopefully I'll have more room to put my stuff. And then I'll be able to do that. And I still got to buy PlayStation Plus too. But yeah, once I do that, we can definitely do something, man.
All right, that's awesome. And we just hit 1,600 subscribers. I want to say thank you all so much for all the support and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome that we hit that milestone. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SmokeCarbon13 and Nicholas Carbon on Instagram. But thank you all so much. And just remember, stay gold.